Today we got the ROG Kithara gaming headset from ASUS, and what makes this such an exciting release for me is that it's a collab product with Hifiman, or Hifiman. If you're only into gaming, that name might not mean a whole lot to you, but on the audiophile side, they make some very good headphones, including the Aria, one of my favorite headphones of all time. These are coming in at $299 US, so on the higher end for a gaming headset, but mid-tier pricing as far as audiophile headphones go. And I need to say that ASUS did pay for the production spot on this video, but it's not your traditional sponsorship because I get to say whatever I want. So the Kithara uses planar magnetic drivers, the same type used in the Odyssey Maxwell. These are 100 millimeters and have a membrane sandwiched in between magnets. Planar magnetic drivers in general usually offer lower distortion, great soundstage, and deeper, faster bass response. Downsides are that these are notably more fragile than traditional dynamic driver headphones, and these can be power hungry to sound their best. So given the intended use case, hopefully these are easy to drive on all sources. That's called foreshadowing. Unlike the Maxwell, these are open back, very open, which means you're going to hear a lot of the world around you, and the outside world is going to hear a lot of what you're listening to. These are basically two big speakers on your ears that play outside the headphone as loud as they do inside. These are going to be way better suited to a quieter environment because there's nothing here to even passively block outside noise. The other big difference from the Maxwell is that these are wired, not wireless, and they include a ton of accessories in the box to make the use case as wide as possible. Cable 1 is flexible and braided. It includes the mic with inline controls. It terminates in a dual 3.5mm, one for audio and one for mic. They also include a dual 3.5mm to USB-C adapter, a DAC. Because of this design choice, you won't be able to use the mic with the single input on a controller, and that's not just because they didn't include a dual 3.5 to 3.5mm adapter. Because these are open back, the cable setup is designed to reduce crosstalk or other players hearing your game audio back in your own mic. We'll check this out a little later during the mic test. So compatibility-wise, these are fully compatible with PC, PlayStation, and anything that uses USB-C like Switch or mobile devices. You can still get audio from anything with a 3.5mm aux jack, but no mic support for Xbox. The second cable looks like a nice IEM cable, but still really retains all the folds and isn't weighty like a nice IEM cable. But it does have swappable plugs. So you get a single 3.5mm, a big 6.3mm or quarter inch, and a 4.4mm balanced adapter, which is basically unheard of in a gaming headset. The design of the headset itself looks like most of Hifiman's lineup, so big egg-shaped ear cups and a metal frame with a wide extended headband made up of leatherette, breathable mesh, and memory foam. These are a heavier headset at 430 grams with the mic attached, but the frame is designed to minimize the feel of this. What I immediately noticed with these is that the tensioning on this floating headband is very weak, and the ear cups just slid down my face due to gravity. There are tiny little screws on each side that I was able to tighten, but you'll need to do this very carefully so you don't strip or break these. That mostly corrected the issue for me, but there are still times when these will move to the next adjustment with barely any force at all. ASUS is aware of this, and they state that they have made adjustments to this for the mass-produced version. The other thing is that you get two pad options here, and both of them are enormous. These come with leatherette and mesh pads installed. These are a little more breathable and supposedly a little more bright. The openings on these are 45 by 80 millimeters. They're angled too, so 20 millimeters deep at the front and 28 millimeters deep at the rear. You'll also get a set of velour pads that are a little softer and are intended to have a warmer sound. The openings on these are 50 by 85 millimeters. They're also angled with the same front and back depth. These use a bunch of plastic clips around the edges, so you'll need to be careful when swapping these pads to not snap or deform these clips. Overall, the headset feels pretty durable because there's just not a lot to the frame design. The frame appears to be all metal with only plastic on the outside of the ear cups. These are also really comfortable when you get them dialed in. Plenty of pivot on the cups and they swivel a full 90 degrees. They do look pretty comical because of the tall rounded headband versus the angled low profile frame design on the Aria. And personally, I would hesitate to recommend these for somebody with a really small head just due to the overall size of the ear cups and the fact that there's very little clamping force here. To test these on the PC, I first went right into the motherboard with the 3.5mm jacks, but the real tech on this very expensive Crosshair X870E Hero motherboard is not even close to being enough volume. This, like a lot of this conversation, is going to be very device dependent because there's plenty of volume for these going off the 3.5mm jack on the MacBook Pro. Back on a Windows 11 PC using the included USB-C DAC, I can get more volume, but on a lot of stuff, I can still comfortably listen to these at their absolute max. It's hit or miss. Call of Duty, I have more than enough volume. Borderlands 4 is iffy. Battlefield 6 is iffy. I can run both of those at max volume. And that is tested on both cables and making sure the inline volume control is maxed out. So on music apps like Tidal or Spotify, it was helpful to turn off the setting that normalizes volume between tracks. After that, again, some tracks I can listen to at max volume and some I can only make it to like 70% Windows system volume. On iPhone, you're good going over the USB-C dongle. No need to even turn off normalization. On my Fold 7, you definitely need to turn it off or you'll probably be listening to everything at max volume. On the PlayStation direct-to-controller, it was nearly maxed on most games, and the Xbox controller did a little bit better. So that leaves me in an interesting spot with these because not for everyone, but for a fair amount of people, there just won't be enough volume here without using a DAC amp. And that's a pretty big note because depending on how loud you listen to your stuff, that could greatly reduce the amount of realistic use cases for these. If you're strictly needing audio and not a mic, you have a ton of options for amps to drive these, starting at like a $99 price point and going up from there. But if you want to use the mic, and you probably do, do, that's going to leave you with very limited options. My DAC amp of choice when I need a wired mic is the shit Gunner, which currently runs 229, but there's an issue which we'll discuss in a sec. There's also the Sound Blaster G8 at around 170 and the Fosse K7 at 199. Assuming you don't already own a DAC with mic support, that's gonna hurt. Add to that, I did have some bugs in Windows 11 with the USB-C DAC. Sometimes it was just volume consistency, and sometimes the Windows system volume just wouldn't have any effect on the volume of the headset, leaving the inline controls the only way to adjust, and they're pretty touchy. To be fair, I would blame Windows 11's historically terrible audio handling before I blamed ASUS. Looking at the measurements, first with the leatherette pads, there's two main things to see here. One, the left to right channel matching on these is exceptional. That means great directional performance in gaming. Two, these are super flat. That dashed line being the Harman curve where most people would like their bass to be, these are light in the low end. Switching over to the velour pads, the main difference is that we don't get the dip at 1.5 and the bump at 3K. It's a smoother sound, and I prefer these pads. We still don't get a lot of bass though. That's standard with these because they're so open. For music listening, it's a fine amount of bass for most genres that aren't bass heavy, but there is no sub bass here, so rap and EDM tracks were very lackluster for me. Here we see the aria laid over the graph, and it's a really similar tune. And like the aria, you can EQ these like crazy, and they'll stand up to just about anything, so you can load up something like Peace APO and bring in tons of bass when you need it. For gaming, particularly competitive, it's a really solid stock tune. The directional cues are great, soundstage is great, the detail on these is bananas too. Distortion is low, all around it's a really great sounding headphone. When listening to music, I do get a metallic timbre on these, which is not uncommon for a planar magnetic. Nonetheless, I'm a big fan of the way these present. Talking about this mic, when we're using it via the USB-C DAC, it sounds decent. Tone's pretty natural. There's basically no noise floor, but there is some compression artifacting, and it does sound pretty nasally. The signal itself is obviously cleaner than a wireless mic would be, but it's still pretty obvious that this is a gaming headset mic. It's okay. Earlier I said that the shit Gunner is my go-to gaming DAC when I need to use a wired headset mic, but it doesn't play nice with this one. The reason being is that there's no mic gain adjustment on the Gunner. It's just running wide open gain, and this mic seems to be really sensitive, so these are not a good match together. So instead of a nice dynamic range like you see here with the USB-C DAC, we get sections that look like this, where they're not exceeding a certain level, but they look brick-walled at that level because they are. So even if you set your Windows system volume really low, you'll still hear clipping and distortion, and I can't find a way around that. That's unfortunate because these sound really good on the Gunner, any amp really. These do like some power for sure. So to truly make the most of these, even from just a volume standpoint, I personally feel like you need an amp. So not only will you need one with a mic input, but also one where you can adjust the gain of that input. A potential big issue with a headphone this open is the idea of your leaking audio coming out of your headphone going back into your mic when you're playing, which supposedly this is wired to mitigate. So what we're going to do is check out a VOD. This is playing at about the same volume I would normally play COD, so Windows system volume of around 75 to 80. As you can hear, I mean, it's definitely there, but I do think they mitigate it to a decent amount. I would be far more worried about nose breath or your keyboard making more noise in the lobby than I would your leaking audio. So overall, I think what we have here is a much more affordable version of the Audeze LCD GX. If you look at it from that perspective, it's a good deal. But it really depends on how loud you normally listen to your stuff. If you're able to get by primarily with the USB-C DAC, then what you've got is a pretty flexible system with an acceptable mic made into a headphone that sounds really good and responds to EQ really well. At least on the PC, you can completely dial in the sound how you want, no matter how extreme. At $299, that works. This is audiophile tier sound. Now, if you listen to your stuff really loud, you don't think you can get by on the USB-C DAC, or you don't need the mic, then the value proposition erodes pretty fast. If you fall into this group, I think it makes a lot more sense to grab a Hifiman Edition XS, which are available at just over $200 right now, get a USB-C mic, and then you have a lot more flexibility in what kind of DAC amp you can use. Regardless, I still think this is a really exciting collab from ASUS and Hifiman. Nothing at all against ASUS's existing headsets, I just always like to see a dedicated audio company get in the mix. And getting a balanced cable included is a definite nod to the audiophile space. I just wish they were a little easier to drive and or the mic was a little less sensitive, and it would be a much easier recommend. And that's it for this time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Stay up.